So, describe different forms of neuroimaging we discussed yesterday in class. Detail advantages and disadvantages of each form of brain imaging. So, if you haven't done so already yesterday, just please turn in that assignment that we went over in class. Okay. If you weren't here, you just turn it in. Okay. I'll give you guys a grade for it. It's important to know for the exam. So we talked about a few of them yesterday in class that maybe we can discuss today, review it. And then I have your study guide where I'll have a review on Monday and then test Tuesday. Sound good? On Wednesday, we'll review the exam, and since it's a half day, we'll figure out what else we'll do. Maybe introduce the next chapter. No, you think just hang out? Just to hang out. All right. Maybe watch the Spider-Man trailer. Do you get to see it, Raven? You like it? Yeah, it looks pretty cool. With what? Kahoot. Okay, we can. I played a fun game in my social class. I played a fun game one day with my social class. I have these. It's called pop darts. You throw them up against the dartboard, and they really got into it. So maybe I can bring those in. So I was thinking, what's that? Well, it's like little suction cups on the end of them. It's pretty fun. I'll bring that in. I think you guys will like it. I think you'll like it. Not actual darts. Oh. So as you're finishing up, I'll come around and check your bell rings a while. How you doing today? Good. Oh, hi. Did you turn it in? Yeah, I'll check it out. Thanks. Reminder, just turn it on, so I'll read that. Then. What's that? An eraser? No. Yeah. So again, make sure you guys turn in that assignment from yesterday. Scans, brain, and neural imaging. Good. All right, so let's go over this real quick, guys. So yesterday we talked about a few of these ways of imaging the brain, neural imaging. Let's start off with Raven. Which one did you talk about? Which one did you mention anyway? Okay, so CAT scan. What's that? What is that?
It's rotating X-ray machine.
Good.
That locates the different parts of the brain that are damaged.
Okay, good job. Good job. So a lot of times when you look at a CAT scan, you're looking down at the brain. Okay, it's a 3D image of the brain, and you can see different types of, I guess you say, the location of the cerebral cortex. Okay, so with the CAT scan, some advantages of it is that you get to see the actual brain itself and looking at it. And like I mentioned yesterday, with some people that take impacts, you might see how the brain might be conditioned after a long period of time of taking heavy impacts. And again, just focusing on the cerebral cortex mostly. Okay, can you see any type of activity with a CAT scan? Like brain activity? No. So that's again some of the disadvantages you maybe want to talk about when discussing what a CAT scan is. Okay, but anyway, you can see the cerebral cortex, right? You can see really a top-down view of. You can throw that away, buddy. You can see a top-down view of the brain. But when it comes to seeing activity, you don't really know. So you can't really observe that happening with a CAT scan. All right, good. So X-ray imaging, good. Hadley, what was one you talked about? fMRI. Okay, good job. And what is that? Okay, good. So this is using magnetic field, sending radio waves into the brain and locating different parts of the brain. Okay, in detail look, and actually shows activity as well with blood oxidation within the brain. So if let's say you're performing activity, if like questions asked, or you're listening to music, or you're expressing yourself, you can actually see the location where this is being, where this activity is being used and utilized. And this is just a better way of understanding where these functions, where these processes or these activities are performed and understood within the brain. So again, this is a way of analyzing really blood flow to the brain when performing a certain activity, utilizing radio waves, magnetic field, much like an MRI. Okay, good job. Katie, what did you talk about? Yeah, PET scan. What was that? Okay, yeah, good job. Good job. Yeah, good job. Good job. So positron tomography. Okay, so this is really utilizing this radioactive dye that's being injected. And this is something where the scans of the brain that's being used with the PET scan, I can see exactly where this activity is being performed. Okay, much like the fMRI, but this time you're going to use a radioactive dye. It's almost like a tracer in a way. They can see where this activity is performed within the brain. I know I showed some images yesterday as I was going through some of this information and what that looks like. It kind of shows like a purplish, yellow, blue dye. Okay, some of the disadvantages, yeah, you're being injected with this radioactive dye. fMRI just, again, shows blood flow to the brain. So that's a little bit more safer form of scan. Good job. Good job. Christian, what else do we talk about? Yeah, we mentioned that one already. We didn't talk about an EEG. You don't have that one? Anybody talk about the EEG? Allison, you talk about the EEG?
Yeah, it's an amplified recording of the waves.
Yeah, good job. So these electrodes that are actually pasted to the brain, to the skull, okay, pasted to the skull, and you're picking up brain activity. Almost like I said, like a seismograph, right? That detects earthquakes. But this is just seeing and understanding the activity within the brain of neural firing, okay, neural activity. And again, someone might be explaining something. Someone might be receiving information and seeing how this information is being fired within the brain. Do you actually see an image of the brain though? With an EEG? No. So that's a downfall, a disadvantage of this type of scan. But again, it's great at picking up fast activity. Okay, it picks it up on that almost seismograph look and how that data is being represented fast and efficiently. It's almost instantaneous. All right, I think that's pretty much everything we talked about. A lot of the scans we mentioned yesterday. So make sure you can distinguish between the ones we talked about, we mentioned, and maybe discuss some disadvantages or advantages of these types of brain scans, okay? And ways of neural imaging. So again, make sure you guys are just prepared for that on the assessment. You'll definitely see something about neural imaging. All right, is there any questions on that? Good? Okay. So I have the study guide up for you guys. So let me post that, publish it. You guys can start working on that. Like I said, we'll have a review Monday, test Tuesday, and we'll review the test on Wednesday on that half day, maybe introduce the next chapter. We'll see. Who knows, if we get peanut butter cups, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so here at the bottom, I'm going to publish the vocab, so you guys can turn that in. Oh. So you attach the vocab, and the study guide is posted now. So with the study guide, this is almost necessarily, you don't have to fill out the whole thing. Obviously, there's some terms on there I'd like you to know. I think it's important that you know some of these terms that are mentioned on this test. But these are some questions, short answer I'd like you to know as well that are pasted here. Again, this is something you should just look over. Necessarily, you don't have to fill it out. You can just look over as labeled here. So again, there's some terms, short answer that I'd like you to know, and really the understanding of the brain like we talked about. So you're going to see some questions of the brain that are attached, okay, to the assessment. The neuron, don't forget about the neuron. We talked about the parts and functions of the neuron, talked about the firing of a neuron. Okay, we even mentioned a little bit about, before that, we were talking about the nervous system, right? You might find a short answer of the nervous system on there. How is broken down with peripheral nervous system, somatic, autonomic, okay? Systematic, parasympathetic, right?
What was the last
Let me check. Yeah, let me check here quick. Is something wrong? It's not loading? Let me check that for you, Reed. Taking that this a while